Welcome, my beautiful souls, to another edition of the Soul Surgery Collective Oracle reading. I am Usar Furian, and this is the House of New. So, as we do every week, we break the session down into three dynamics. So, the first dynamic here on your left will be looking at what state of consciousness or energy that we should be awakening, or what's being affected in those areas by using the Kemetic God oracles or an archetype of the Kemetic gods for that principle there. Then we're going to look at what's going on in different areas of our life, or where this energy is preferably going to be manifest in different areas of our life, or trigger, or where the work might be able to take place, my beautiful souls, using some astrology. And then we're going to use the African oracle gods, deity cards, to get an action. What action should be taken this week, depending on what area of our energy or conscious mind frame is being triggered, my beautiful soul. So yeah, bear with us. So let's shoot, my beautiful souls. Let's see what we've got. Boom. Okay, so as you always know, we always draw one card that represents the activated energy, the energy that should be utilized overall. And then we always draw a afflicting, a negative energy, right? Or an energy that is operating from its negative state, and that is affecting. It's like a battle, basically, my beautiful souls, right? So let's go with the scarab, Kepa, as they know it, right? The scarab represents, as it says here, spiritual transformation. It represents so much, as you can see within the symbolism, right? You've got the rising, the serpents, right? Which are symbolic of Uraeus, or you might know as the Kundalini. So the Kundalini is a rising of the energy which activates higher and levels of consciousness, and so many other things, but we're going to leave it there. Kepara, in its essence, the scarab beetle represents sunrise. It represents the summer solstice. It represents creation. This is the god that represents the creative aspect of one's will. So remember, I always talk about the will being a creative force, right, that moves energy and matter into manifestation, my beautiful souls. So Kepara will represent that initial creative energy spark. Is solar, represent the sun disk, represents that it's the solar energy. It's the energy that represents the spark of your solar force. So this is the aspect of your will that is going to trigger the energy. So this is almost like you have an idea, then with that idea you get excited, you get aroused by the idea or the concept of achieving this specific goal that you have, right? And that arousal now bestows you with the energy in order to go and now do the task that you need to do in order to become successful, or to achieve, or to bring this thing into creation. It ain't no different to the sexual urges that you feel when you see somebody, you're attracted, then you want to exchange, and then after a few exchanges, I'll give birth, creation, my beautiful souls. So it's showing you about the power of mind, right, in the essence. So this is beautiful because, again, this is the birthing, right? The scarab represents the birthing, a birthing dynamic, something coming into fruition, something being gestated, something ready to manifest. That's its initial principle. So I'm not going to get too deep into the mythology of the dung beetle, my beautiful souls, because it might take us off track. But to summarize it, it's a part of it's you daring to dream. It's daring to have a goal. It's daring to have a vision, right? That's where it's going to initially start, before fantasizing about the riches that you're going to get or the lifestyle that you're going to be living in. That gonna come after, because, right, we should be able to visualize ourselves within the vision of what we're trying to create. But at this particular moment, this is like an awakening and a spark and an arousal that's happening within y'all. And the question will become, what action will you take? How do I know? Obviously, because now we've got Heru, right? It says slow victory here. This is coming in as the principle that is afflicting your ability to give birth to something, right? So Heru represents the sun in astrology, right? That would link it back to the energies of Leo, right? We all know the negative traits of Leo is the ego, egotisticalness, being driven by glory and fame, dominance, sovereignty, right? Wanting people to bow down to you, right? Wanting things your way, a certain level of arrogance. Those are all the negative. The negative aspect of Heru is that he is impulsive, reactive, angry, right? So there's something about the state of mind that we're in. We might actually have the ideas, we might have the dreams, but there's something about how we see ourselves. There's some form of anger, there's some form of impulsiveness, which is probably based on a fear of loss or a fear of failure or something, or us still attaching to our limitations, right? Or identifying via our personality to our limitations. So this is saying that our action has to be corrected. We need to somehow be able to stand back, pull back, respond and not react to certain current stimuluses that are going on. So this also could be that you just can't see your fertility. You can't see that the abundance of the universe is limited and only limited by what you will allow yourself to think and believe, right? So it could actually be that realization. It could be a guilt or an anger with yourself because you've gone through trauma, you've gone through limitation, you've gone through a period of lack, but you've identified with all of those things. And Spirit's saying, remember what you are. And this is what Heru is. He is born through trauma. He's born through death, struggles, trials, tribulations. Right? You look at the crown that he wears, right? The Pashant, the double crown. So he wears the crown of his father, Auset, the oneness, that supreme God, like the supreme intelligence, the all-knowing aspect, the one's omnipresence, right? Oneness with the divine. So, which also denotes one's unlimitedness, one's abundance, right? To create. And then obviously he has his own crown, right? And what it really represents is that Heru goes through these three stages of three principles. The first stage is the baby Heru Pakaret, right? That's the one we just described. Then you've got Heru Behutet, which is the warrior. So this is someone now saying to themselves, okay, I am not my emotional program. I am not my fears. I am not my doubt, right? I realize that I am not my feelings. There's an aspect of me that stands separate to these things that I'm feeling, which means that I am the controller. I can control or decide to act on or not act on or to ignore. So this now gives you back the control. Hence why he is holding the WAS symbol of the life force. Remember, E equals motion. Yeah, right? Emotions, my beautiful, your energy, right? Which we see as sensations of feelings, right? Is operating from a very fear-based dynamic, and that is the baby Heru. You know what I'm saying? Identifying with its pain and not identifying with the throne in which it's actually trying to fight for. And in this sense, your throne, what you're trying to fight for, is your ability to change, to transcend, to give birth to something, to be the maker of you, my beautiful souls. Remember, Heru represents freedom via the will, right? The will is one's intention, my beautiful souls. And your intention, right, and your ability to manifest that intention is all, again, down to how you see yourself, right? So the higher aspect of Heru is Heru, right? And that represents God in flesh. That's when he stands in the presence of his father. So is unconsciousness, is subconsciousness. Everything is activated. It becomes one consciousness. The fear does no longer operate behind the scenes. No longer do we sweep those things under the carpet, right? We draw everything out of the shadow. The black sun becomes the sun, the radiant sun. This is Heru, hence why Heru represents horizon, the sun rising above the horizon, my beautiful soul. So it's showing you that dawn, which again is what Kepera represents, the birth, right, follows the shadows and the uncertainty of the night or the darkness, my beautiful souls. Jeez, deep that was, very deep. All right, let's go and see which areas of our life. Oh, okay. We've got Pisces. We've got Saturn in Pisces. And we've got Mercury in Aries. This energy feels very, very current, my beautiful souls, because we have Mercury retrograding in Pisces at the moment, I think until the 20th. And then on the 20th, he will be going forward, and then it will be a matter of time before he enters into... So let's see this as a transitional point, right? So Pisces is where the sun is right now, right? You see this energy of loss because we're looking at Saturn and we're looking at Pisces. So Saturn is seen as restrictive. Let's just see it as cold, dry, authoritative, structuring. You know, it's all of that goodness, right? So Pisces is seen as water, right? Cold, moist. It's an energy that dissolves, right? It can remove boundaries, my beautiful souls. And then the 12th house is always about what's hidden, right? It's interesting because Saturn, we always know about he's exalted in Libra, but do y'all know that he has in the 12th house, Saturn sees this as a house of pleasure. The 12th house is also seen as a malefic place, the dark place, like Hades, your underworld. That's hence why it's associated to hidden enemies, not the enemies that you can see. These are the people plotting and scheming behind your backs, my beautiful souls, right? And prisons, hospitals, mental institutions, a number of different things, as well as I could say, like, this is a place where your soul, if you are the black sun, this is where the black sun lives, awaiting its arisal. It's rising. So you see that the sun rises from the first house, right? And then it goes into that 12th house, basically, like, and then it goes into the 11th. So the 11th house being good fortune from that malefic fortune or the bad demon of the 12th, right? So if it's seen as the bad demon, my beautiful souls, it's saying something about some of y'all are experiencing physical loss. It could be death, right? Some of y'all are experiencing loss in the sense that relationships are breaking down, destroying friendships, partnerships, right? They're all just starting to perish, right? And you feel like you are losing, right? But what was never meant for you was never meant to stay with you. And this is how we need to start looking. If something can leave you, it was never really meant for you, right? So this is an actual process of detoxification. Really, my beautiful souls, there's areas of our thinking, our emotional patterns, right, our spiritual concept. There's certain factors of this that we have been programmed, and spirit saying, nah, do you know what, time to release, right? This is why Saturn came into Pisces for 3.5 years, to give human beings the ability to grow their emotional intelligence, to put in boundaries with this whole give and take, right? Allowing people to dam their waters, and their waters in this sense being their over empathy, right? Or mistaking sympathy for empathy and then being manipulated emotionally. So this is where the emotional intelligence comes in, for you to understand the depths and the shadows of self. Why do I need someone to be like this and say these things to soothe me or to make me feel comfortable and secure, right? Where do I get that security from? Why do I need that form of security? The 12th house or Pisces, 12th house will help you to dive deep. Saturn will give you the discipline to change, right? And Pisces will just dissolve the change that you're attached to, my beautiful souls. So I know that's a very esoteric way of approaching the astrology today. But again, Pisces is a sign of creation. It's altruistic. It's a sign of service, helping, giving to people, right? Again, 12th house, like I said, hospitals, prisons. If these are areas that you want to work and do your transformation, right? The spiritual world, yes, we all know that Saturn Saturn materializes anything it touches. So whatever field or whatever you're trying to bring forth right now, the energy of Saturn has gone into Aries. So it is in full, right? But to take the positive of that energy is you should have been able to have identified what moves you, what is your passion, what arouses you or stimulates you. And this is why there should be a breaking away or a breaking apart, because you've gained, maybe now that Saturn's in Aries, you've gained your voice, your momentum, your energy to fight for your own, to go for what you want, to stand your ground even, right? You know what I'm saying, my beautiful souls? To defend your castle if you put Aries and, and Saturn together on the positive. Then we've got the Mercury in Aries in the first. So Mercury in the first, and Mercury being communication and so many things, but I'm just taking what hits me straight away is some form of expression, true expression of your true self, true needs, true feelings. And Aries is coming to create a whole heap of restlessness, my beautiful souls. It's coming to expose, with Neptune there, what is my belief system? What have I been living by? What are the shaping factors of my personality? Is everything that I like and dislike an illusion? Am I really in control of me? And then once you find out that we have been manipulated, or you've been manipulated by certain social expectations, cultures, all that goodness, right? There's that restlessness, right? This is daring. The rebel is the product of authenticity, right? And Aries, the energy is not going to allow that feeling to be unheard, right? Aries is enterprising, courageous, wants to hunt something, my beautiful soul. So watch the time of April, right? This is especially when Mars enters into April, and I think that's around midway, maybe 2 weeks into April, right? We've got to be aware, because there's going to be an ignition to fight, right? Well, you can see with this Mercurian energy, you've got the caduceus. So let's make this energy be about because the first house is about self, right? So what if, and that's it's the area where your soul descends in. So let's say that we all had an Aryan soul, a very outspoken Aryan soul. What would that look like? We might be Amazonian in nature, right? So maybe there's something about society that is very pacifying when it comes to a person's true authenticity, which has been mistaken under this weird concept of individuality, which has created division because people don't understand the meaning of the word. Indivisible and duality, so two things that can't be separated but are separate, are unique in their essence. Do you understand? So unity and diversity, my beautiful soul. So what is it that you feel that society is snuffing out, right? Because the first house wants you to develop this energy of Aries. The higher energy, Aries is ruled esoterically by Mercury. This is when the warrior become the impulsive soldier, becomes now the strategic general, right? Which then after the defeat, right, now becomes the priest king. Fuck. See, sorry to say, my beautiful soul, that is so deep. That is so deep. So the energy is back onto you, right, my beautiful souls, and stepping out into speaking your truth, daring to go after what you want, facing challenges as and when you want, right? This is not going on a warlord path, because as explained, we're looking at the esoteric, right? The esoteric ruler, not the exoteric ruler of Mars, which is Aries, which is Mars. The esoteric being Mercury, right? So now Mercury has that Hermes kind of energy, wisdom to bestow, as opposed to the trickster, the gossiper, the back and forth in, the curious, the unsatisfied curiosity, wanting change and all of that kind of goodness. Or on the flip side, being so analytical, it's nitpicky. That's very Virgo-y in a sense. So come out of your own way, right? And allow what needs to perish in the sense of relationships, small thinking, I would say, different connections, your belief systems. move out of your way. And no, and what I mean by move out of your way is that you need to check your personality, right? And say, is this personality actually hindering me? Or do I have the ability to change this personality? And am I willing to change it? And what would happen if I change it? Am I willing to face the consequences? Because we live in a world of cause and effect. And this is what this loss is saying, right? The loss is a blessing. That's what it's saying, right? Remember, I told you can get the best out of this 12th house if Saturn's there, and this 12th house is represented to Pisces, right? So we all have areas of doubt, fear, insecurities, right? Pisces in this season, right, especially by that new moon on the 18th, will give you the ability to dump this all into the cosmic acid so that it all just gets neutralized and eaten up and then reprocessed and given back to us in the form of cosmic radiant life force energy. So now we have the tool, the confidence, the self-belief, the self-esteem to now pursue our dreams, my beautiful souls. Do you understand? All right, let's keep going. Wow, this was a deep one today. I was not expecting. Oh, we got the waning moon. It's time to banish all evil. Woo! I think that's so fitting, right? Because look at this loss, right? This loss, this 12th house energy, this shadow. This is what people's done. They've just picked, people have picked at you to make you the carcass. Not realizing you are actually the raven. You have the foresight, or you have the ability to adapt or to change. Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, the waning moon just represents something is dying. Let it go. This is a good time for you to say, if you're trying to break habits, right? Or you're trying to, yeah, one, I would say we all are trying to break habits, right? Not trying, we will need to break habits. And that's what we're working on, is breaking that emotional programming, right? Which in this sense is breaking habits. This is why Heru is here. So Heru is not, we need to turn Heru's energy into the positive, because Heru is the warrior. We can't have him as the baby, right? Which is where he lost his eye through his arrogance, right? So we need to heal our eye by trusting our intuition, gaining wisdom, right? Thinking before we act, right? My beautiful souls, right? But we need to stand in that confidence. So this banishing of the evil, the banishing of the evil is actually getting rid of this low vibrational energy, right? Detangling the emotional programming, the trauma, looking at your past, understanding why you are who you are, right? Not seeing your enemies on the outside are reflective of your enemies inside, my beautiful souls. I always say this, right? So Heru gives you that ability. Until your will is awoken, you cannot stop doing the things that you don't like doing. So I feel like this is where there's a frustration here, right? We can't break the habits until we have the tool that is the will, which is a sword, which breaks the connection, because it gives you now choice. It gives you oversight, circumspection, right? But when we're acting on impulse, right, we're just reacting to every single situation. So whatever's programmed, unfortunately, my beautiful souls, in your unconscious from these many lifetimes and many previous lifetimes that you've gone through and experienced certain things, right, until we become the ruler, become our Heru, right, we can't harness those gifts, because there's gifts in there, my beautiful souls. Like, you've told yourself that you are some specific thing, but at the cost of the fullness of what you truly are, or the fullness of the universe that you have access to. So it's like you've chosen to be the master of one specific tool. Let's say you chose the spear, right? You like but then there was daggers, there was bow and arrows, there was I don't know, now we've got projectiles, whatever, right? I use the word war because it's metaphoric, my beautiful souls. It's like you specialize just in the one, when you were supposed to adapt. Oh, this is the point of the zodiac as well. We are not just our sun signs, moon signs, we're all the zodiac, right? And we're going to experience the fullness of that zodiac. Hence, when the sun goes through all the signs, the moon does it in every 28 days, right? These are opportunities for us to grow and develop and evolve, my beautiful souls. So there is many more factors within you to come forward. But by living under this false illusion, oh, I'm this, I'm that, oh, I can't, or hiding, do you understand? Or holding on to some of this trauma, right? It limits us. And that in itself becomes the evil, right? Because the real evil is the denial of our fullness, our optimalness, our divinity, the rising of our consciousness, being able to manipulate and control energy and matter. This is our birthright as an organism born with a consciousness and a will, a creative force. We are here to create and manifest, not to be ruled and dictated to, right? Jeez, y'all got me on one. Okay. This is the action. Ooh, of fun. Let's go in a bit. There are times to seed and there are times to flourish. Interesting how this is the number 10. 10 is like a manifestation, but we've got the 1 and the 9. We've got the father and the mother, meaning number 1 being Usar. And it's interesting, this Ofun represents Obatala also, and Obatala is also linked to Usar, which is number 1 on the tree of life, my beautiful souls, which represents God's omnipresence, or your own omnipresence. This is the one eternal consciousness. This is supreme intelligence that permeates through all things throughout the universe. This is the source of the creative spark, my beautiful souls. All right, so I'm going to read it for you because I think the message is too good. So we've got keywords, right? No, the gods that it's related to are Oshala and Obatala. Keywords: patient and understanding, consolidates material goods, creates and maintains long-term friendships and relationships, air of authority, generous, great word skill, especially spoken, intelligent, above unkindness, so tendency to live many years. Just with the keywords alone, right? And the symbolism back to Obatala and Usar, Usar being the father of Heru, right? So it's saying that every human being was incarnated with a will, right? And that will was so that they could be co-creators within the universe. Sorry for the banging, my beautiful souls. These people next door just been on it, right? So that they are you to continue with the co-creation. So they're saying there is one supreme ultimate force or consciousness in the universe, but you as its child sharing its quality, right? But not in its quantity, because its quantity is infinite. It's the all, you can't add to or take from. So us now in our little vehicle called the human body, and the things that we touch or the things we create or bring forth, right, is our realm of control, our domain and kingdom within the kingdom of the entire unity. So they know there's a bridging. So I love the fact of this of fun being here. So if everyone in the world had your patience and righteousness, the greatest power is your voice, that you speak and shut up at the right time and in the exact measure. Likewise, understanding the time and pace of life and agreeing to balance your needs with the needs of others, honoring their experiences and respecting their traumas seems to be the path to enlightenment. So what this is actually saying also is that a lot of people are holding on to grudges. Yes, people have harmed you. I told you Heru, right, lost his eye fighting his own uncle, in metaphorically speaking. So it's saying that you fighting the people that harmed you or carrying the anger because of the people that's harmed you is robbing you of your own insight. You're robbing you of the sight to see your fullness, right? That's what it's really saying. And this is why Heru had the eye of Ra, they will say, or the eye of Tahuli, or the eye of his father, or the eye was restored and given back to his father, Osar. Osar representing the subconscious, the underworld, right? Or yeah, your intuitional side, you say it that way, or the realm, the astral realm, right? But Osar's whole principle is about resurrection, right? So the whole concept of Jesus being, resurrected, this Osar was resurrected through sharing its will through all of creation, and the highest form of that creation is the human being, Hu, creative will, and man, right, my beautiful soul. That's why Tahuti, the abyss god, has the Tihu, right? The Hu, the creative will, and it represents God's will, where Heru represents your will, one and the same, my beautiful souls. So it's saying that we need to transcend and ascend that lower vibrational energy, right? Anyway, let's keep it moving. Under the positive influence of Odu Ofun, your gaze communicates far beyond what words could say, and the current moment makes you a great advisor, making people see you as a natural leader. Past experiences and future directions fit in the palm of your hand, and you know the best is yet to come. In fact, this optimism and ability to deal with the most complex situations with the understanding and tranquility of acquired wisdom is one of your greatest qualities right now. If I could give you one single piece of advice, it would be to learn how to apply this serenity from now on, even in the faces of danger and despairs yet to come. Why is this important? If you look at this story of Heru, right, when it came to the court of Ma'at, right, where he had to take his uncle for the persecution that he has bestowed upon Heru, right, when Auset, his mother, asks for lenience, he cut her head off, and which showed that he was still not fully evolved into his higher self, because his emotions, his impulses were still there. So this is the point of where people say we can forgive but we can't forget. It's about dissolving. It's understanding. Ma'at demands this whole understanding why you've experienced what you've experienced, and understanding that your essential nature is transcendental. So anything below that, any feeling or emotion that you hold on to, cling to, good or bad, right, automatically reduces you into the animal kingdom, when we're supposed to live in the human kingdom, or the Netaru kingdom. So that's what I'm saying, my beautiful souls. By looking into the past and past experience of those who have gone before, you will be able to understand that consistency and maturity come with experience. From there, while trying to comprehend the steps taken before yours, the answers you are looking for will arrive, and you will finally pace your life's rhythm with the one that resounds all over the universe. How about taking this time to practice empathy? After all, if you haven't reached enlightenment yet, others around you are far behind. And by humbly leading, listening, and advising them, you can learn together to truly experience the peace you so long for. So it shows you peace is a stillness. So it doesn't matter what the feeling is or the mental play, right? Peace is not a concept that you can own like that. It is a state that you have to resonate with. So that resonation is stillness. So the more that we're constantly running from something, is the more that we're keeping that thing alive. Do you understand, my beautiful soul? So this is why we have to go through that process of letting go, but which is really a dissolving, which is an understanding of self within the bigger spectrum of this whole universal life, my beautiful souls. Yes, you mean something, you are something, and you are here for a reason, right? But you are also stuck in your caterpillar mode, in you're refusing to come out of the cocoon, to bust forward out of your cocoon. This is the whole point of Heru. He will give you the energy, right, the mind frame, the will, to help you break through the cocoon, go through this metamorphosis process, right, in order to become the fullness of you, my beautiful souls. So yes, it's very, 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 there was a heavy one today, my beautiful souls. So let me know how it resonated with you. I'm very interested in how, or what you're trying to give birth to. I shouldn't say the word trying. What is it that you are going to give birth to? Which parts of yourself are you struggling with? Do you feel that there is a duality with what you feel your ability to do and how the world might accept you? Do you feel that resistance? Where is that resistance coming from? No right or wrongs in this. It's just all about awareness, my beautiful souls. Boom! Catch me on Thursday on TikTok, 12 p.m. GMT times, my beautiful souls, and that's at House of New, HOUS.OF.NU, and that's my TikTok. hit up my webpage if you need personal readings. All that information will be in the description, my beautiful souls. And as we always say, love, light, a little bit of darkness, and always peace, my beautiful souls. Heta poo.